You are listening to the Daily Gospel Reflections with Sister Cloth. This podcast is brought to you by the Paulines Multimedia. It is our mission to bring the Word of God to all peoples through sounds and images, voices, and music. Come and join us as we share with you a thought a day. For today, our reading is taken from the Acts of the Apostles, chapter 5, verses 34 to 42. Then a member of the Sanhedrin stood up, a Pharisee named Gamaliel, a teacher of the law, highly regarded by all the people. He had the accused ordered out of court for a few minutes, and then said to the assembly, "Fellow Israelites, think twice about what you are going to do with these men. Not long ago, a certain Judas came on the scene and tried to pass himself off as someone of importance. About 400 men joined him. However, he was killed, and all those who had been so easily convinced by him were disbanded. In the end, it came to nothing. Next came Judas, the Galilean, at the time of the census. He too built up quite a following, but likewise died, and all his followers were dispersed. The present case is similar. My advice is that you have nothing to do with these men. Let them alone. If their purpose or activity is human in its origins, it will destroy itself. If, on the other hand, it comes from God, you will not be able to destroy them without fighting God Himself." Joy and peace to all. I'd like us to reflect on today's reading instead of the gospel for today. Why? It is interesting to note what happened after Peter and his companions showed their boldness before the members of the Sanhedrin. For those of you who attended Mass yesterday, you must have heard about the growing zeal of the apostles after the resurrection of Jesus. We have also learned how the Sanhedrin were enraged by their courage and determination to continue preaching about Jesus despite their repeated warnings to stop it. They even wanted to put them to death. But see the hand of God here. Many of us still remember Gamaliel. He was a Pharisee, doctor of Jewish law, and was a man held in great esteem by all the Jews. In today's reading, we heard what he said to the members of the Sanhedrin. "I tell you, keep away from these men and let them alone. If this undertaking is of human origin, it will fail. But if it is of God, you will not be able to overthrow them. In that case, you may even be fighting against God." So he convinced the Sanhedrin, although they still had the apostles beaten before sending them away. But despite that, the apostles rejoiced that they were worthy to suffer dishonor for the sake of Jesus. Sometimes in our lives, we feel like we must fight for a worthy cause, and we want to win the fight. And this reminds me of a guy who said, "Being a Christian and a die-hard Catholic, I have to defend my faith at any cost." So I commend you for being passionate about Christ. But Gamaliel makes a good point worth considering. He says, accept defeat. Fighting may not be worth it. I agree, especially if it eventually becomes a heated debate. And Gamaliel has another good point when he said, if it is not from God, it will cease of its own accord. It is true because if the bone of contention on the part of your opponent is not from God, it will destroy itself. Our mission as Christians is to help strengthen the faith of our fellow believers as best we can. That's all. We don't need to convince them that our viewpoint is correct. No, all we need is to do our best in charity. Then, God will take care of the rest. And leaving everything in God's hands will bring us peace and joy. Be with us again tomorrow as we share with you a thought a day. Meanwhile, you can follow us and listen to other Apple and Google podcasts on Spotify, produced by Paulines Multimedia. Have a good day.